Green things and hallucinations, my good friends. This is Lex Tenebris, and you have probably seen some of my work in the past if you've been following my feed on Steemit, where I talk about 3D modeling, how to do things, how to engage in design, how to go from a concept to something that you can actually 3D print and have in your hands. I wanted to talk about a parametric modeler today that everyone can have, because it is online. It's available at Onshape.com. For the low price of nothing. The only trade-off is that all of your models have to be public. That is, that they have to be searchable and findable, and that's fine because that's not going to make a big difference to you. Unless you are running a company, where you have to keep your design secret for, replication issues. For all of us who are makers, who are casual people, who are just interested in the field, this is a great solution, and the fact that it will run on a potato is great, because it runs in the web. It is a web service, rather than a downloadable application. Though there is a downloadable application for Android and iOS, as I recall, which means that you can run a full parametric 3D modeler on your cell phone, your tablet, what have you. And it will work pretty much just fine. So if you're out at a client site, or you get inspired in the park, you want to build something, you want to design something, you got it. You can take these models, take them directly into STL files, put them to your 3D printer, and have these things in your hand in short order. So I'm going to do a very casual, very relaxed sort of thing here. We're not going to get, too crazy. We're not going to be too formal. There's no advantage in that for any of us. I just want to show you some things, and we'll put something together that is convenient and fast and works out pretty well for us. So you will notice on the left we've got labels, which are wonderful. I've got several here for myself. Let's create a new label, and let's do that. Let's create a folder, actually, because I want a folder for these tutorials. Maybe I'll do some more. And do forgive any horrible typing issues that involve multiple letters happening. Got a new keyboard coming. It's just gonna take a few more days to get here, and until then, I'm stuck with this one. But all right, so we've got this blank space to work with here. We've got all sorts of fun. Let's create a new design. So we'll go over here, we'll create a new document, and we will call it, I don't know. We'll call it Steemit Valentine's Keychain version 1. Because Valentine's Day is coming up, we don't want to be left out. We want stuff to be cool. We want to be able to show our loved ones that we love them. And we'd also like to pay a little homage to where we're talking about. So at the beginning, you'll see that we have the planes. We've got a center point right here in the middle. That is the middle of our space, the one referential point that exists. And we have these planes in the X, Y, and Z. Marked right, front, top, good stuff. To rotate, it's just like playing a video game. Drag with the right button on your mouse, and you'll change your perspective. It's actually quite intuitive as compared to Fusion 360, which really requires you to work at it or to drag on the cube. This is very intuitive. So, all right. So we want to make a keychain. Well, that's pretty good. We're going to need a couple of things for that. We are going to need the Steemit logo, and to do that, we're going to need to make a sketch, and we're gonna work on the bottom plane, just the bottom sketch plane. So I've made a sketch which lays on the bottom, as you can see when we turn it around, and we don't need these planes right now, so we'll hit P to make them go away. Now we just got a sketch. Now we need to import an image, right? Because we need the Steemit logo. Ah, yeah, there we go. There we go. I'm pretty sure that I might have this somewhere in some of the stuff out here. Let's see. Nope. That's Pokemon stuff. You don't need that. Maybe I don't. Well, that's fine. We'll just import it. Oh, yeah. Well, I may be a bit of an egotist. It could happen. Let's go look in my download directory. Ah, there we go. The Steam logo. Or the Steemit logo. What do you guys think? I guess we'll go with the Steemit logo for our Valentine's Day. Alright, so it upgrades itself here. We're just uploading it right into the system. It's uploaded. And now we've got it down here as a tab. Huzzah! It's good. Now it's attached. We go back to the part studio that we've been working on and nothing has changed. That's fine. We don't care because that is here. Boom. Now, this is the image rectangle we want to put it in. That's pretty good right there. Right. This looks kind of boring, doesn't it? I mean, what can you do with it? You can grab it, you can drag it. As a matter of fact, we can grab it and drag it, and we can create relationships between things. And importantly, the relationships that we want to create are with the origin. So in this case, let us just put a single point. We'll grab the point, and we'll feel around here on this edge until we see that the icon kind of turns into a triangle. Let's zoom in a little further. There. Which tells us that's the midpoint of that line, right? Let's do that on the other side too. That tells us it's lined up with that. Where's the midpoint? There we go. Alright, so now we've got two lines that are midpoint. Oh my god! We didn't want that second one! Well, you know what? That's fine too. We just hit undo, and it goes away. We didn't want that second one, because we want to do one on the top. And there it is. So now we've got a point that is constrained to be on the midpoint of this line. We got a point that's constrained to be on the midpoint of that line. Now, we just need to make them related to the origin. So we'll take the origin, and we'll click on those things with a constraint. These things up here on the right are constraints. They allow us to say that something is related to something else in part of our model, usually in a sketch, and that we don't have to define it beyond that. The implications are worked out. So we've said that this point is directly to the top of the origin. Right? So this will always be oriented. This line will always be oriented parallel to that one. This line will be always parallel to that one. So we're setting up the constraints under which this will work. We're also going to set the horizontal constraint between the origin and that. And you notice things shifted a little bit. Right? So now when I drag this, oh, it just changes our size. It's guaranteed to be centered right there, physically in the middle. That's great. That's amazing. That is amazing. All right, so the other thing we want to think about right here, right now, is how big do we want this Valentine's keychain to be? Like, I mean, what are we going to do with this? We've got it, and, you know, let's look at the layout, look at the design. This is part of figuring out what a design is, figuring out what you can do with it. I mean, it's a fine thing. We could just do a straight-up keychain if we wanted to, but I'd like a little bit of Valentine's Day in this. I think, to me, that white section in the middle kind of looks like part of a heart. It could be a heart. It could be a heart. What if we oriented it this way and said that we're going to build a little bit of material out here so that it is a heart? That sounds really cool. I like it. That's pretty neat. All right, so if that's going to be the case, let's say, how large should this be? Like, you know, a keychain is pretty hefty. Let's say maybe 4 centimeters. 4 centimeters, it's going to be a little larger because we'll have some extra space. Yeah, let's make it 4 centimeters. So we hit D for the dimension button. We reach over here, tap that one, and tap that line and pull it out. Just tap it and move away from it. It gives us the ability to say how long it is. 4 centimeters. We'll just type it in. 4 cm. Bam. 40 millimeters. And you'll notice something very interesting. We know, because the machine knows, that these lines, these boxes around our image, are equal. They're in equal length. They were defined as an enclosing square to begin with. So they'll be 90 degrees off, and all of the things that go with that. Which means that when we say that this one is 40 millimeters, this one is automatically 40 millimeters. This one's 40 millimeters. This one's 40 millimeters. And we automatically know that this dot that we put on is directly in line with that dot. And hey, that we have a perfectly good setup here. This is good. This is good, except for one tiny problem. Let's orient this back by hitting in. We have a tiny problem, and that's, look at this. This is clearly rasterized imagery. You know, you can't use this for geometry. You can't. You can't. You need something smoother, more line-oriented, curve-oriented, built so we can use it. And there are ways to do that, but they're all going to be a little bit tedious. Let's make another sketch for that. Now that we've got an idea of what we're going to do, let's call this raster logo. Now this sketch is called raster logo. We turn on showing the constraints, where you can see the horizontal and vertical constraints. All right, so let's commit that. All right, so that's not quite locked in, but it's not the layer we're working on right now. Let's turn the planes back on, drag it over with the mouse middle. All right, so that's our basic design. We need another sketch, though. We need to make a sketch which lets us actually get into that. And remember, I want to remind you, in makes you look directly at a sketch, flat on, very important. And F lets you zoom in automatically on whatever is selected. So think of F as fill screen, which it will make your life much easier. So we have the shadowed background of that original. We've got some stuff we could build off of. We know how big this is. Let's just start tracing it. Let's bust out some splines. You would think we'd bust out some circles, but I find that this particular logo isn't exactly great for that. And as a matter of fact, I'll demonstrate that. You would think that at least like from here to here would be a circular curve, right? We can kind of make it work. We'll go with that, right? And then from here to here, maybe, would be a circular curve. It kind of works out for that. Maybe we can get another one worked out here. This is making use of the least amount of geometry we can get away with. That's kind of a circular curve. All right, but really, I don't think we can get the rest very closely now. We can grab these little points and drag them around. Makes a difference. Makes a real difference. But sometimes you're not... Ooh, sometimes you grab something, it goes wrong. The dangers of parametrics. That's when we have Control-Z. So, alright. We can tell that these aren't really centered because the center dots don't line up. So at least some of these don't quite work out. Let's see if we can make them at least work a bit better by making them tangent to one another. So we put the tangent constraint on those two, and they sort of tighten up a little. Tangent is just what you learned in school. It is a line which approaches a curve at an angle. In this case, we're using it to make sure these line up very closely, so they make a contiguous sort of circular smooth curve here. And that's good. But now we've got to deal with this a little bit, and this is not any kind of an arc. It just isn't. So we're going to go over to Splines. If you've ever worked with Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, or Inkscape, you know that splines are a pretty useful tool. They allow you to sketch points in space by just sort of go in there and sort of dragging and wiggling around. So we're just gonna sort of click a little bit at a time And see if we can't line this up like so. No, that's the problem with splines. Sometimes you have to get the completion just so that it will line up like you want. Alright. I just hit escape at the end of that, and you see, we now have a fairly well described line here. Now we probably ought to make use of the tangent again, so we're going to make it tangent to that, and we're not going to make it tangent down here for reasons which are going to be obvious if I can fix this. We're not going to make it tangent down there because we want a sharp point. We want a sharp point. We want that sharp point, in fact. And this is going to be a problem for a little bit here, because when that last tangency went in, mathematically, this is non-ideal. Non-ideal is a good way to put it. So let's roll back to before we did that last tangency. We'll just suck it up. Let's just hit Control Z, undo until it goes back. That's pretty close. It's not going to be perfect down there on the left, but the original sketch, or the original design, isn't perfect. So that's the inner space. It's nice. It's solid. You mouse over it, the whole thing lights up. That's good. Now we need to do the outside. Now you would think continuous arc, right? Continuous arc. Let's try that. Let's go up here and see how far. You know, maybe we can go that far. All right. If we go that far, that gives us a bit of an arc. And let's see, we just sort of end up selecting multiple lines around this thing. I don't know if this one's going to be particularly good. Like that. And that's definitely not a single arc. So let's maybe it is. Maybe it is. Again, this is a thing that you end up doing a lot in design. You don't know what the answer is necessarily. You just kind of want to feel around for it. Kind of want to feel around. And that can be good and bad. I mean, sometimes things work and sometimes things don't. Let's see how this goes. That's all right. That's all right. When things don't work, you'll know about it real quick, unfortunately. Let's go up here. There we go. And you're wondering what that dot is there? That's the center of one of those circles down below. So, all right, we'll go out here, see if we can make this work. There we go. That's not terrible. That's not terrible. All right, let's see if we can't link this up with one last arc. Going to be a little sharper than maybe it would be. All right, so that's a clean, closed space. It's not necessarily as tangent at the ends of the lines as I would like, but, you know, we can try that. We can always roll that back. Let's try making this one and this one tangent. You see, it kind of shifted up a little bit, which sometimes makes it a little hard. Like, now that this end's moved off. The parametric modeling world is basically, hey, stuff is related to other stuff, and you need to respect that. If stuff turns out to be not lined up or curved properly, you can get situations where geometry doesn't generate properly. But I think in this case, that's pretty good. That's pretty close. And we'll give it a try. We're going to go with this, right? We're going to go with this. And just because I really want to see if we can do it, I'm going to try one more tool here, the offset tool. And I'm going to turn on make it construction because I want dotted lines. And I want this offset and that offset. how much? I want to just sort of come in here and pick a space that really connects up with that. Yeah, I think that'll do. We hit enter. And that gives us an offset construction line. And we can trim off the bit we don't need, which is there. We don't need that outside bit. We just want this inside bit. And maybe we can extend it just a bit. There's all sorts of sketch tools that you can use. Yeah, it doesn't quite match up, but it'll do. It'll do. It'll do. I think we can work with that. Because we want that as a separate sort of entity. Let's make it... Let's make it... Oh, well, that's crap. I hit the wrong thing multiple times. Alright, let's go forward. There we go. Let's extend it one more time. Actually, no. Let's not extend it one more time. Let's not extend it at all. Let's use one of those dirty, filthy splines. Because I feel like that's... No, maybe not a spline. Maybe not a spline. Again, we're just feeling around in the space. We know we want to be there. We know we want to end there. We want it to be very, very slightly curved. And we want it to be construction. Oh. Let's try that again. You know what? That's not actually working the way I want it to. What if I... Let's see. It's based on this geometry. I have to extend it. You just have to think about these things for a moment. Maybe a spline is what I want. You know, we'll just sort of line it up. Alright, we got a spline there. And we want to make sure, let's see, turn that knot. Let's turn this knot construction. Let's make it real. It's a real line now. Make that knot construction. Make it a real line. The idea being, I would like this part to be separable from the rest, and it looks like we've pulled that off. It looks like we've pulled that off down here. I think let's try something. Let's experiment, because experimentation is part of design. Let's see what happens when we make that. Oh, that didn't go well. It moved a lot of stuff because it's not anchored together. It's also interesting that that line is not anchored up here. Oh, no wonder. No wonder. See how this line doesn't connect? Well, all sorts of stuff is going to get out of line there. That's not good. But I think we can try to fix that. Let's pick a coincident constraint and say that this point is coincident with that point. And that largely gets us back where we want to be. We can drag that back in. That's one piece all the way around. Looks pretty good. The weird mohawk on the Steemit design. Man, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. We'll just sort of drag this around. Those two things have a really not good connection. So we're going to click them and make them tangent, which pulls them up a little bit, which is fine. We'll just adjust these points. Again, way more adjustment than you may think that you need. Oh, yeah, you got to be careful which way you drag stuff. Alright, that's going to be down there. These things matter, and they matter in ways that you may not immediately be able to determine why. No, but we just revealed another problem. That this line... Oh, that's weird. Let's just grab that handle. Ah, there we go. We'll smooth that out a little bit. And this point is really just not up in here. Let me get that there. You will spend time fiddling with sketches, especially if you are trying to replicate another space, another image. But I think this is looking okay. I think it's okay. This is alright. Yeah. So we've got this section. We've got the cutout. which is its own section. We've got the Mohawk, which is its section. I think we're good. I think we're good with this. And we'll call this sketch Steemit logo. And we will commit it. Now, we don't need the original image anymore. So we can go over here and just turn that off. One of the wonderful things about parametric modeling is that you have a timeline of things that have happened. And you can go into those timelines, like this one, and, you know, just change them. Just absolutely muck about with them. You can roll back, change features, modify what they were, go back in. It's pretty wonderful. It's one of the things that makes parametric modeling far more comfortable to me than a lot of other kinds of modeling. So, alright, so we've got this. We've got this as a start. And, yeah, now we can start making some volumes. I think we're good. I think we're good. We're on the bottom plane. We are here oriented in 3 space. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Now, what do we want to do with it? Well, we're making a keychain, right? Making a Valentine's Day keychain. So let's start by let's create a volume to work with. Now, we probably want it hollow in the middle because we're cool like that. We are awesome. The Mohawk probably needs to be a little thinner because, you know, it's just the sort of thing that feels like it should be thinner on your design. And remember, we want to do something with this to turn it into a heart. So, let's look over here. Oh, extrude is the tool we want. So, now we're going to make a volume. We don't want that to extrude. We do want this to extrude. And you can see that's quite a lot of extrusion. And you know what? I don't think that's... I think that's too much. 25 millimeters is too much. 5 millimeters? 5 millimeters feels pretty good in the hand. Let's go up to 7 millimeters just because I'm feeling very old school in terms of numerics. Now that's cool, but think about how this is going to be built. That is extruded off of the central plane, right? So it's going vertically. It's just coming up. We're pulling it up. The Mohawk is also flat on the central plane right now. So if we were to extrude it, it would be at the back. But really, maybe it's just me, but I feel that should be in the middle of the design, right? That should be in the middle. This should be extruded up and down simultaneously. Lucky for us, we can do that. We can say extrude symmetric, right? And now it's extruded 7 millimeters above and below, which is probably a little more than we want. Let's make it 3.5. I think maybe it was 7 millimeters we really want. I think we can go with that. Because we don't want it to be too thin. I want it to be fairly hardy. Yeah, let's go with this. Let's go with this. And don't worry about the color right now. I know the silvery gray is not very attractive. It's, you know what? Go with it. Go with it for the moment, right? So there we go. We have a volume, and you're like, oh my god, the logo disappeared. No, it just automatically turned off once we made an extrude from it. We can just turn the eyeball back on. We can see everything now. It's cool. It's cool. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll hold you. It's fine. All right. So let's look at the geometry real quick. We can see where those lines came together and where that's a little bit of sketchy geometry right there. That one little plane there. It's where it flattens out where those two come together. And, of course, there was going to be a little bit of sketchy geometry down here. But overall, I have to say, that's a nice, clean piece of geometry. And we're going to do some more stuff to it. So it's, you know, it's going to be more exciting. That's nice and clean. While we're at it, let's extrude the Mohawk. And it automatically picks 25 millimeters blind. We don't care about that. Let's go to symmetric, which moves it nice and over. Let's grab the handle and just sort of squeeze it. Again, if you're making parts for industrial processes, you're probably not going to be dragging stuff around just to see. You're going to have measurements you have to meet. You have all sorts of things. But, you know, we know that we kind of want that to be 5 millimeters. 5 millimeters, that's pretty good. I don't want it to be too thin because you can cut yourselves on a 3D print. And nobody wants a keyring that they can cut themselves on. In fact, at a later point, we'll be taking a moment to break all the sharp edges on this. But, all right, Steam logo. There it is. Coming along. Mohawk is in place. And suddenly, I've turned into Christopher Walken. I don't know how that happens. It just, you know, happens. Happens. All right. Cool. But we screwed up. Do you know what we screwed up? When we extruded this, we told it to basically add to the existing object, right? And which is great. I mean, then you have one object, but we want to do some stuff with this very shortly. So let's not make that an add object. Let's make it a new object. So again, this is geometry. We can merge it, we can split it, we can cut it, we can scoop it out. We can do all sorts of things to it. So this is fine. This is fine right now. All right, so now we have two objects, two parts, which you can see down here in the bottom left. And we have the list of ways that we got here. So now, what do we want to do? Well, we don't need a sketch anymore at the moment. So we can turn that off. Now we got a clean view. You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to copy this object. I'd like to duplicate it. Now in Fusion 360, that's easy. You just click on an object and you hit M, and it gives you, the ability to copy and move stuff. But this, go down to the part, highlight it, it turns yellow, and then you can get one of these, which is a ghost duplicate. And that's great, because that's what we want. We just kind of want to go to this, and we could do... Do we really want to duplicate this? I mean, it would be made of two hearts with just one mind. But, you know, maybe I don't want to do that. Let's abort that. All right, we're back here. We're back here. You know what I want to do? I have an idea. That's never a good thing. If I have an idea, things are about to go terrible. Let's make another sketch, right? We did so well with the first one. Let's make another sketch on that plane. Turn the planes back off. Orient ourselves a little. Maybe rotate that. That's good. That's good. Now, we have a thing that we want to work from. And we're looking straight down on it, orthographically. Onshape is good about making sure that when you're looking straight at a plane or a sketch, things turn orthographic so that you can work out the angles. I want to project, right? I want to use this object, right? And you saw some things blink into being. Let's turn off the current set of... Oh, yeah, check that out. That's right, we can turn off parts that would get in our way. Like, right now, I don't need to see that. I do need to see that. So let's say I wanted to make another heart that kind of comes out here, kind of comes over, and just sort of mimics this curve. Well, I really like this idea. Let's try this with that offset thing that we were doing before. Just for some construction geometry. Just for that. Right? So, if I wanted it to be another, I don't know, 4 millimeters wide, like that. That might be doable. That might be fine. Let's move this dimension out of the way, and you can just sort of drag it whichever way lets you think about things. Right, so if I were to draw an arc, let's draw a spline or an arc. Actually, you know what? An arc is the right thing here. We want to end up there. We want to sort of have this come up like that, and we want these things to be tangent, because that will line up our arc. Well, it lined up our arc all right. Let's see if we can extend it back out. We can. See, this is one of the things about parametric models that is wonderful. If you tell it what you want, you can get that. However, it appears to me that that's not really what we want. because this does not actually match that line. So let's go back, tweak our offset again. Let's do this again. Let's do offset, and let's make sure that we get this line and this line. This line, right? Because we can do that. We kind of juggle that around. Does 4? Is 4 as close as we want it? Maybe I want that. Maybe I want like 6 millimeters, right? So now we've got a line that definitely sweeps up this way. I think we can go from this arc. I'd like to, we just sort of feel around at this point. We just sort of, we can definitely be tangent, but we don't want to be tangent because this doesn't really get tangent, right? Escape arc. And now having done that, we don't need this bit anymore. And we don't need that bit anymore. Right? Now we've got this weird arc up here that's not really connected to anything. Right? But we can make this and this tangent. Oh, now we're starting to get somewhere. If we pull this down, or rather out, you can see it kind of unfurling. This part's pinned down, and this part is flexible for us. Let's go up here. See, we've got 2 lines. We've got another arc here. So, what if we specify that this and this are tangent? Now we're really cooking with gas, because now we can move a couple of things around and see how they feel, because we've fixed relationships. See, see, that's not great. That's not wonderful. What I really want is this to be a line. I think that's what I want. So let's trim this out. Bam, no longer exists. Don't care. And then let's make this a line that matches up down here, right? And having now being a line, if we make it tangent to this part, came loose at the bottom. What's up with that? There's all sorts of, we've got a couple weird things going on. Couple weird things. That needs to be connected to that edge, as you can see. And then this is the bottom of that curve. Let's take this out a little bit. Whoa, too much. Never be afraid of hitting Control Z. Never ever be afraid of hitting Control Z. Or to sound a little more bizarre, there are no mistakes. They're just happy little trees. Or happy little bizarrities. They are our friends. They show us what we're doing. All right. I think really what we want is just to sort of complete this off with another arc. This has turned into more of watching someone do a drawing design rather than 3D design, but a lot of the time, that's really how it works. That's what's going on. I want that to be not related to that, so we'll just sort of feel around here. All right, now our heart's kind of lopsided. There's no way around that. Our heart is kind of lopsided, but we can play with it. We can grab it. We can throw it around a little. Oh, that's not so great. Because we extend that. That's all right. Let's grab the. Oh, here we go. Here's some control. That's looking better. What if we move this up along this line and pull this down? Oh, I think we're in good shape. Good shape. And it's at this point that you may begin to hear running water or tinkling dog chains or all sorts of things, because when you live in your studio, wacky things happen. That's pretty much it. So what we're doing here is we're just working on seeing if we can't make this, oh, that's not bad, a little more heart-shaped. If we made those, hey, we're getting somewhere. I like that. That's starting to talk to me, starting to speak to me, starting to tell me what it wants, which is really, be careful with your parametrics. Control Z gets us back to something. It's usually better to grab points than it is to grab lines. All right, I like it. I like it a lot. That is going to work just fine, right? So here we go. The secret next step for the secret sauce is going to be, we take the offset and we apply it to here and here and here and here. All right. And we kind of figure out how wide we want that. And it looks like maybe 4 millimeters will do just fine. Right? And we know that this is going to connect up. All the points are fine. Things are blue, so they're not locked down geometrically, but that's fine enough for our needs. We'll go in here, trim out some lines. We'll trim that out. We don't need that. We don't need that little bit. All right, cool. All right. Escape that, and now we'll just grab that, pull it up here. All right, so that is one continuous space. Nice. All right, cool. I think we are well on our way. Let's call this second heart the sketch because, well, I feel a little pretentious today. And there it is. We've got it extruded. Now let's turn the mohawk back on. That's not what you want to do. Turn the mohawk back on, right? And we can see how that lines up. Let's extrude the new bit like that. Oh, that's entirely too far, but we knew that was going to happen. It defaults the wrong way. I believe we decided that the main part was 7. So we've taken a millimeter off the top and bottom when we extrude it symmetric. You know what? I feel like that should be a little lighter. I know we'd be sacrificing a little bit of strength for this, but I want it to look different. I want it to have some dimensionality. So 3 millimeters thick is pretty good. It still feels pretty good in the hand. It's a little thinner. You probably want to print this at 100% fill anyway. The weak points are going to be where the square bits come together, but we'll deal with that a little bit more in a minute. We have a technology for that. The mohawk, do I want the mohawk to be that thick? I kind of do. I mean, it's kind of heavy. It's going to change our center of gravity, but that's fine. We're going to deal with that in a minute. All right, cool. So now let's just add that as a new body too. All right, so we have 3 parts. That looks pretty good, right? It's all merged up. The geometry fits together, but you can't have a freaking key ring without an actual key loop to hang it from. So step 1, we've got to Boolean these objects together, right? We've got to make these objects into one object, the thing that we weren't doing before, so that we could manipulate that separately. Now we're just going to make them all one object. Boom. Now the geometry is all one piece, and we can look at it, and you know what? It's still pretty nice. That geometry is pretty cool. Now we need to do something I often don't remember how to do. Oh, look, the new configuration part studio. Not useful to us right now. Configuration parts is a system that Onshape has added this month to allow you to drive parametric designs from a data table. So let's say you were making a series of rings or something that came in multiple sizes or required multiple changes, and you could just drive it off of basically a spreadsheet and it would redesign everything as you move it, which is pretty freaking cool. But we're not doing that. All right, so we've got this one part. One part. It's fantastic. It's a really nice part, but it doesn't have our center of balance on it. So let's see here. We want to select it. Bam. And that gives us this, which is the mass properties in the bottom right. And that shows us, well, one or more parts do not have a material defined. Oh, that's right. We need to define a material. So let's go down here and let's assign it a material. Now we're probably going to make it out of plastic. I mean, you know, there's this. We're cheap. We're young. We probably have our own stuff here. I don't think that actually selected the one I wanted. Assign material. Yeah, it's selected as ABS. Wish this window was a little higher, but we want, well, PLA. PLA is your normal go-to, kind of rigid, not the most rugged piece of material that you could use, but it works. So now, that's PLA. Awesome. Select the part, go back here to the bottom right-hand corner, and now we've got a center of mass. Huh. Well, how about that? Now here's the thing with center of mass. It really doesn't help us per se. Really doesn't let us copy from here and make a point for it, which is something that I have a request in from. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to copy this into a thing, and I'm going to drop it somewhere else in my notes, which are on the other screen, thankfully, so that you can't see what I've got, all the horror that is lined up. And then, having copied the center of mass away, I just got rid of that. Now you're probably wondering, why the hell do you care about the center of mass? Well, the reason I care about the center of mass of this is because it's going to be a keyring, and I want it to hang appropriately. To hang appropriately, I need it to be, you know, directly over the center of mass. So, we're making a center of mass sketch. We're turning off the planes. And we're even turning off that. Now, and then what we want is there's no change in the Z. It's not higher or lower than the object. This center of mass, because everything was made symmetrically. Perfect. So we don't have to worry about being off of this plane. If we did, we'd just create a new plane with that offset and then do what we're about to do. But now, what we need is a point. And we put it anywhere. Frickin' point. That's all we care about. Now we don't need the point tool anymore. What we need is the dimension tool. And we click on the origin and the point, and we know that the X is 1.199 millimeters for the center of gravity. It's over there. That's actually not bad. Not bad. And now we get the distance here. And it is negative 1.039. Negative 1.039. You know, that actually is pretty balanced, considering. Let's turn the object back on, see if that makes sense. Kinda does. It puts the thing... Yeah, that looks plausible. The Mohawk has more mass, so the center of mass is toward it. So that's awesome. So if we want it to hang from here, we want to make our mount point directly above from our desire above that point. So cool. We've got our center of mass marked and visible. So now we want to create the lines to do that. Cool. Which means we need another sketch. Everything is sketches. Sketches, sketches, sketches. Turn that plane back off so I can see what I'm doing. Don't really need it to be that. Oh. There we go. Now we're sort of oriented back where we want to be. Now we just need a line. And we're going to make it a construction line. Line. construction line. Apologies, sometimes I get confused between the stuff from Fusion 360 and Onshape. We're going to project this dot, actually, into our current sketch. Now, we're going to make a construction line that goes up this way. It's anchored to that. We don't really care about its angle per se. We can just grab it and drag it around. We're going to make another construction line. Q turns on your construction geometry, so you don't have to do it after the fact. Right. So that second construction line is awesome because it allows us to go and dimension an arc to tell this exactly how far it needs to be off. And that is pretty good. Let's go with 99 degrees. Just because. That seems alright, right? Okay, that puts us in a weird place, though. Weird place. Let's go maybe with 110? Maybe helps us? Maybe? And sort of rock things around. Doesn't really... Sometimes you just have to deal with the fact you can't get exactly the view position you want. You have to sort of turn your head, sitting in front of the screen, and alright, I think I can do this. Alright, I think I can do this. So, I want a nice attachment point up here. That's going to be fantastic. I want to grab a construction line from this edge because it'll make things much easier. Right, so now on that sketch, we can turn this object off for a moment. Yeah, see we got stuff coming together. Right. So now I want a loop. Now, do I want the loop that connects directly to the thing? I think I do. I think I do. So we've got this point here, and it's constrained to really only move on this line, right? So let's sort of look at this. Let's look at this again. Doing all that crazy stuff. Okay, let's look at this. I would like a circle around that. That's easy enough. Circles are easy. Let's make it big enough to run into that. Cool. That's awesome. That's what we want. We got a circle. Neat. I still don't like how big that is. So let's grab this edge and pull it in. Pull it in a little bit. There we go. We could pull it down a little bit. I mean, this doesn't have to be a huge circle. But let's see how big it is. Let's make it a 10 millimeter circle. Awesome. This is going to be just fine, right? It's a 10 millimeter circle. And then we're going to grab an offset on the inside of, I don't know, yeah, 2 millimeters is good. 2 millimeters is good. I like 2 millimeters. Right? That gives us, again, the start of a volume. What do we do with volumes around here? Well, first, we name our sketch because we're a completist like that. Then we hit extrude, grab that, change it to symmetric. Listen to the dog in the background writhe around on the bed. Some people are into that. I'm not going to judge you. If you are one of them, that's fine. All right, that's not bad. We could make it equal to this outside, but I don't want to do that. I want it to be a little smaller. Don't want it to be quite equal to the inside either, so let's go to one of these orthogonal views. Yeah, like that. It's like 3.8. A little narrower. That'll be that's fine. It's fine. That's fine. 3.6. Right, now we got another volume and a hanger. Now I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You're saying, holy crap, this looks really awkward. It looks bizarre. That's really what you're saying. You're right. It's all straight lines and not very safe. We got some real points on it. let's see what we can do about that. Now this is a heart. We are doing things for Valentine's Day a little bit early, but you know how it is. You get ahead. Let's change the appearance. You know, hearts are bright red. I like red. Red's a good color. Maybe a little brighter red. Oh yeah. Right? So, now we're starting to get somewhere. A little shiny red action. The heart should probably be soft. Right? And softness is the realm of the fillet. Not to be too fair, not to be too unfair about it. The fillet is a feature that you can put on objects, which defines basically a little curve. Some curvature, like that. Sometimes you have to play with it to get the amount just right, but let's go with just 1 millimeter. Can I do that? 1 millimeter curvature on that. Yeah, that looks great. Looks great. Let's do it to that face too. Can't do it to that face. All right, fine. Can we do it to that edge? We can do it to that edge. And you'll notice all the edges which are connected to it also get a little softer, which is good. That's great. Oh, let's not forget we need to do it to the underside. Because if we're going to do it to the top, we need to do it to the bottom. So everything looks nice and consistent. All right, cool. That's nice. That's very nice. A millimeter. Can we use a millimeter there? Sure can. And you'll notice this is going to make those connections there stronger. I don't think we can do a millimeter here. We'll try it. Nope. Failed entirely. You can tell it failed entirely when all the shadow versions go away. Do we want to do it there? No, it doesn't like it there anyway. All right. I think we're on to something. I think we are on to something, as opposed to being on something, which is usually what I feel like I'm doing when I'm engaged in design. Can we do one there? A millimeter? Oh yeah, yeah. Let's see how that looks. Oh yeah, it's starting to tighten up, starting to look like a right product, right? So, all right, let's take that fillet. All right, and those sets of fillets we didn't have to design on, we didn't have to draw. It just sort of happened. Now I'd like to have some more reinforcement around here. And a fillet is kind of the right thing to do, but we can't use one as large as we had. So let's try a 0.2 millimeter fillet. Oh, that worked nice. 0.4 maybe. A lot of design kind of just does this. If you don't have a specification you need to make. Oh, wow, we're getting up to a really nice size. Yeah, 0.8 fillet for that? Oh, look at that. Nice. Nice and reinforced. Can we do it here at the back? We can. Wow, that looks really good. That's nice and curvy and will not break loose nearly as easily as it could. How about that? Can we do it there? Oh, we can do it on the outside of that too. Whenever you can, when you're doing fillets and chamfers, really, you want to make them in as few operations as you can. That's going to improve your situation in general. Let's see, can we do it? Nope, can't do it to that. I have a funny feeling some of this geometry on the back of the mohawk here is not going to be our friend. Yeah, not there at all. All right, so let's turn off. Oh no, let's stick with that. Sometimes things don't work. That's fine, right? Right now we're looking pretty good. We could. Nope, can't do it on the inside of that. Okay, cool. We'll come back to that. Right now the heart is looking fantastic, right? There are a couple of inner lines that could probably be made a little bit less aggressive. But let's switch to the chamfer, which is basically just cutting an edge, right? Let's see if we can just make it happen for one. Yeah, you see how the fillet makes a curved edge. The chamfer just cuts it right off, right? just makes it a sharp kind of edge. But not, you know, we're cutting off a sharp edge where it's just like a chiseled edge. And that's a good thing. That's pretty nice. It doesn't like that at all. Doesn't like it there either. Alright, we're going to have to do some stuff there that is not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty at all. Alright, how about there? Ooh, it likes that. Maybe a little big, though. Maybe a little too big for us there. But that chamfer looks really good. Really, really good. And I think we're most of the way there. We're most of the way there. We're almost done. Let's just put a little bit of an edge-breaking chamfer. Not a big deal by any means. Let's see what happens if we start with 1mm. Too aggressive. I'd like a little meat left there. 0.5mm. Oh yeah, that's looking better. That looks like it can hold up. It's still got a lot of meat there. A lot of plastic that can hold on. Let's go with that. Right. Alright, so our hanger is done. That's good. Now we need to do something with this mohawk here, and I'm afraid what it's going to require is let's do a little more chamfering. Make it a 0.5. Turn off tangent propagation. This is where it's going to get kind of annoying. Because tangent propagation means it tries to follow the line all the way down to things that are connected. And I think... And then when it gives you a red line, it can't do it. So, can I do it here? No, can't do it there either. Alright, we can sort of chamfer the top part. I don't really want to chamfer that edge. I think that, I hate it, but that has to be sharp for the design. Alright, let's take that chamfer. And let's see if we can do another chamfer here. I suspect we won't be able to. Let's just see if it'll do 0.1. Turn off tangent propagation. No, it won't do even 0.1. It won't do 0.5. That, and I'll show you why that geometry is having some problems. And, you know, we kind of knew it would. Because right here at this point, we have one surface here, one surface here, one surface here, one surface here, one surface here. We have 6 surfaces coming together at a single point, and that is way too much geometry to really load onto that. It really is. I think we're just going to have to go with it. I think we're going to have to go with this really nice chamfer at the top. I think maybe we could take a little more chamfer there. And you can do that. Just find the feature over here on the left. This is all the features that have gone into making our thing. Go to there. Let's just... What if we make it a 1mm chamfer? Yeah, alright. That looks pretty cool, actually. Takes a little more edge off. And again, can't do that one for various reasons. Alright. Cool. I like how this has turned out. Actually, I think that's a fantastic Valentine's Steemit logo, and I think we're in a good place. I just looking around at it, it seems to have everything we need. This is nice and reinforced up here. It'll hang at the right angle. It's got the right dangle for the angle. There are a couple of places I'm not thrilled with, but for a design we didn't sit down and plan out. We just sort of freeformed, as you do when you're a maker. I mean, we are not industrial designers necessarily, though we play one on TV. I think this could be just fine. So let's pull this back, and you can see it sort of rotated back into our standard position. Let's go over here. Maybe not there. Here. Yeah, that sucked. Let's go back over here. All right. So, having taken that, what we want to do is rename the part. I'm going to call it Steemit Valentine's keychain. Which would be slightly less embarrassing if I could spell, apparently. Valentine's. Steemit Valentine's keychain. Fantastic. And then we can just export it. That's right. We just export it. I like to export things as STEP and IGS files for parametric changes in the future. You can take those into any parametric modeler and change stuff. But if we're just talking about STL, so you want to go to your 3D printer, here we are. We just go to your 3D printer and millimeter, fine, download. Yeah, all right, sure. There it goes. That's it. So I will put the the STEP and IGES files, as well as the STL file, which you can compute, throw it through your G-code interpreter, and have it build out the structure. I'll put all that onto a Thingiverse page and link that when this is ready to post. So, just as a note, yeah, that looks really good. I'm very, very pleased with that. I'm Lex Tenebris, as if you did not know already, and I'm willing to take jewelry design commissions or design commissions of all sorts, some 3D modeling stuff. You know what? If you have something that needs doing, and it's writing or 3D design or making fun of people or designing games, I'm your dude. Look me up. Send me a note. Say, hey, if you enjoyed this, if you learned something from this, if you had a fun experience listening to me ramble and sort of be an artist for a change rather than an engineer, let me know that too. We'll have fun. It'll be good. It's good. It's you and me. We'll be together. Yeah, I'm going to get this up on Thingiverse and get it posted. I think people are going to really like this. All right, Lex Tenebris, signing out.